This is a clip from Beyond Classified. You can access the entire episode now at rockfin.com/FKN+. Well, they also had those elite societies that contacted the entities known as the Nine, that supposedly Gene Roddenberry based a lot of Star Trek episodes off of, and they said they were these non-corporeal beings that throughout the ages led humanity in different directions, which is very interesting, and even posed as gods at times.
Yeah, and they had, what's his name? The guy that owned Bell Helicopter was part of that group, and the guy, Andrea Uharich, who was a CIA and also a psychic and was working with Uri Geller. And so we have to understand the dynamic here. So these entities are getting in, and they let them in, and they let them in on purpose. And then these entities start doing stuff in the exterior world, the 3D world, and they have to find some kind of explanation for it, right? So they sent out a cadre of first wave writers who claimed that it was all aliens, like Bud Hopkins and all those guys. And I had a long conversation with Bud Hopkins once, and he's a really great guy. I'm sorry that he died. But he's wrong. I mean, he's wrong. And the military is involved in it. At the upper echelons of the military, we know from the Presidio incidents with... I'm not even going to say his name, that they're the military and the Satanists and the cult people are all, and intelligence, are all in this one group. And their whole purpose is interdimensional contact to get information, intelligence, right? That's what they're doing. And so this is where the remote viewing programs come from and all of it. And once you understand the connection between this advanced occultic lore, and this project's been going on since Napoleon, at least, okay? And that's like, it has to be understood that this is a almost over 200-year-old project, and to understand the occult and to contact interdimensional entities to get information. And what they did, because they're very naive, and because the true masters who actually understand all of this have withdrawn from society and are hidden now, and they want nothing to do with us anymore, because that happened. That happened in the 20s. They withdrew and finally completely withdrew in the 20s. We've had no one since then who's been dispensing any advanced knowledge at all. And everything that they've done and are doing is based on these occult discoveries. So they think that the world is going to come to an end soon, that the sun's going to blow up and fry the earth. And it may. I mean, that's what the Cross of Henday talks about. My two books are about, and I think they're just like going for broke. The secret space program and deep underground military bases, and the deficits and the endless spending and no responsible thing, because they don't think there's going to be a future. It's clearly obvious.
Now, all these operations are so compartmentalized. The right hand will never know what the left hand is doing. With a lot of different departments and military divisions, they have no idea what each other's doing. And now in modern times, it seems that a lot of this stuff has been outsourced to aerospace companies and different divisions of the military-industrial complex, and they seem very interested. When you look at things like Skinwalker Ranch, I have a friend who's got a bunch of NDAs signed because aerospace companies are out there interested in the phenomena that's occurring out there and most likely trying to weaponize it. So if you look back at the technology and information that may have been given by these entities to our government and military-industrial complex, that's terrifying, because we know it's already probably 50, 100 years ahead of anything we could ever imagine. But what have they already been implementing into our reality that we don't know about?
Yeah, I had a really, really good friend. was my mentor, you might say. He was about 25 years older than me, and he died recently. And he told me a story. He said he went to a New Age conference, like in the mid 70s, when there wasn't really much New Age around. And he gave a lecture to a group of people on sacred geometry. He was an expert on sacred geometry. And he was showing the relationship between the Ayakasa and the dodecahedron. And it's a really complex lecture based on ancient Egyptian knowledge. And he got done with the lecture, and he's kind of putting all of his toys away and everything. This guy walks up to him, and the guy's got a crew cut, and he's about 6'2". Doesn't look like a New Ager or anybody, like a hippie or anything. And he walks up to me, he says, "I want to thank you. You helped me with my project. In fact, I've solved my problem." And my friend goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" He goes, "Well, I work for the Pentagon. I work for DARPA, and I'm trying to find a way to create nanoparticles that can fit into the weapon systems that we're building. And I realized that the Icasa Dodeca system is the best way for me to perfect this weapon system, and I just wanted to thank you." And my friend was just like friggin' devastated, right? He was like anti-war and was just like, "Holy crap, I'm giving out sacred information, and there's military industrial complex people in the audience writing down what I'm saying and using it and weaponizing it." And that's what and so that's going on everywhere. And until we understand the occult, intel, military marriage, we won't understand UFOs. And so the military is simultaneously has a secret space program in which they're flying around in Mach 20, taking right angle turns and stuff, and people see it and they say, "Well, what is that?" Then they send out their agent that says, "Oh, the Arcturians you had a contact with the Arcturians," and once you see it everywhere. And I actually went up to one of these guys one time. They were telling these people who had seen a UFO that, you had been in contact. And I walked up and I said, "It's so friggin' obvious that's your intel." And he looked like he was ashamed of himself. He didn't say he was intel, but he just had to look like I busted him, right? And he kind of backed off from these people and doing what he was doing to them. But I mean, there really is stuff floating around in outer space and flying around, and there could very well be a very close by advanced civilization. Civilization did not get crushed by the last catastrophe, somehow survived and kept all of its equipment, and has been kind of messing with human beings ever since.
Yeah, that sounds likely. And this makes me think of the Camellia story, because if you think they've been messing with people for a long time like this, if you've ever read Camellia by Robert Guffey, it basically tells the story of this very thing, harassment and illegal surveillance, but with extremely advanced exotic technology that they were using on this individual, to the extent to where they were making him believe that aliens were coming visit him, that he was having abduction experiences, that he had poltergeists in his house. And the kicker was, to tie it back to the occult, the individual who developed some of the cloaking technology they were using was an occultist and very high-level Freemason that his technology was stolen from him by the military-industrial complex. So it all goes back around.
Absolutely great book. In fact, you remind me, I want to interview Guffey about that.
I've got him coming on next week.
Oh, dude, if you could give me his contact, I'd love to interview.
Sure.
I'll let you do it first, but in a couple of months I want to interview him because I love that book. And I love the part where the poor dude, he's shaving and he looks in the mirror and he sees the invisible. And then they took that idea and they made the great movie The Invisible Man. Have you seen that one?
Yes.
That's a great horror film.
It is.
And they use that same technique, that same camouflaging technique in that movie. But here's the thing, they do have that technology. They have it. They can walk into your house, follow you in right behind you,
terrifying,
and be inside your house.